This production for Queensland Ballet is a production that has been around for quite a while. It's a very successful production. It's had many different outings and not necessarily a new design each time, but we are doing a new design for it this time. Designing for dance obviously is extremely particular, and it's about movement, a lyricism and a beauty in the movement of the fabrics. It's also about character and the shape of the performer. It has to say what the character needs to be able to say. In my work I use a lot of period with a contemporary update. I keep it fresh, and I'm very interested in colour. There's an enormous amount of pink in the show. Cinderella herself carries a lot of pink. She doesn't wear it at the top of the show. We see some very ugly pinks on the Ugly Sisters, and a lot of mismatched pinks and a lot of sort of quite harsh pinks. And then when Cinderella is transformed by the fairy godmother, we see some very beautiful pinks. I'm very interested in simplifying lines and finding an elegance inside silhouettes. I spend a lot of time working out the types of fabrics we should be seeing and how much of each fabric we should be seeing. My designs are done quite a long time before I get the opportunity to see the dancers work, but once I do, I can then refine it more. So it kind of happens in stages. Before we start cutting into the real fabrics, we just make sure that we've got all the patterns correct and everything in the right place. We often put the toiles up into rehearsal to see if everything's working appropriately. And then once everything's adjusted at that stage, we go into cutting into the real fabrics, put the dancers back into a second fitting in the real fabrics. We'll get those into rehearsal too, so that the dancers have a chance to work in them. The more opportunity they have to work in them, obviously it speeds up the process for them to get to their final performance. We have these pannier shapes for the Ugly Sisters, so we're creating some period undergarments that we see the uglies in when they're at home getting ready to go to the ball. And these are shapes that we made up in calico first, just to check the size and proportions on the boys' bodies, a little bit different to making costumes for girls. And then these are the finished ones. This is Cinderella's tutu for her ball scene. And at this stage we have just placed, we're actually working in the real fabrics, and we've placed all these leaf shapes onto the bodice, and they're graded. There's a colour grade, there's actually a colour grading and a size grading. Even though it's in the real fabrics, this is still at a toile stage, and the real shapes have been cut and then are being worked on in the workroom. And then we can go into finishing proper, which of course involves often quite a lot of the embellishment. We've got lots of braids and crystals and laces and the details. And then on top of that is a layer of accessories, which would include wigs and headdresses and a little bit of shoe detail. I love being in Brisbane, and the company are fantastic. Really skilled people. The wardrobe in particular, which is obviously where I'm spending all my time, I'm really enjoying getting to know them, and also really impressed by the calibre of skills in the room.